Have you ever heard of a Hollywood bombshell who was also a brilliant inventor, whose work laid the groundwork for the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth you're using right now? It sounds like fiction, but it's the incredible true story of Hedy Lamarr. Today, we read diving deep into the life of the woman who was much more than just a pretty face. Born Hedwig Eva Maria Kiesler in Vienna, Austria, in 1914, she was the only child of a prosperous Jewish family. Her father, a bank director, would often take her on long walks, explaining the inner workings of different machines, from streetcars to printing presses. These conversations sparked a lifelong curiosity in young Hedy. By the age of 5, she had already taken apart and reassembled her music box, just to understand how it made music. Her mother, a concert pianist, introduced her to the arts, and by her teenage years, Hedy's striking beauty was impossible to ignore. She was discovered by a film director and soon dropped out of school to pursue an acting career. Her early career in Europe was marked by controversy, particularly the 1933 film Ecstasy, which featured scenes that were considered scandalous for the time. At just 18, she married Friedrich Mandl, a wealthy Austrian munitions dealer. Mandl was intensely controlling, essentially holding her captive in their castle home. He was also a supplier to fascist regimes, and Hedy was forced to host lavish parties for powerful and often dangerous figures. But she wasn't just a silent hostess. She sat through countless dinners, listening intently to conversations about military technology and advanced weaponry. Her sharp mind absorbed every detail. Trapped and miserable, Hedy planned a daring escape. One night, she allegedly disguised herself as her own maid and fled, eventually making her way to London. It was there she met Louis B. Mayer, the head of MGM Studios. He offered her a Hollywood contract, but she turned down his initial low offer. Undeterred, she booked herself a ticket on the same ocean liner he was taking to New York. By the time the ship docked, she had charmed him into giving her a much better contract and a new name, Hedy Lamarr. Hollywood instantly fell in love with her. She was hailed as the most beautiful woman in the world and starred alongside legends like Clark Gable and Spencer Tracy. She was the exotic, glamorous leading lady in films like Algiers and Samson and Delilah. She lived the life of a movie star, complete with 6 marriages, lavish homes, and constant public attention. But behind the scenes, Hedy was bored. She felt her intellect was being completely wasted. In her trailer between takes, she didn't just read scripts. She read science books. She had a drafting table set up in her home and spent her nights working on inventions. She came up with ideas for everything from a new type of traffic light to a tablet that would dissolve in water to create a carbonated drink. While that last one was a flop, it showed her constant drive to create and improve. Then came World War II. Hedy, being of Jewish heritage and having fled the Nazis, was desperate to contribute to the Allied war effort. She knew that radio-controlled torpedoes were a promising new weapon, but they had a major flaw. The enemy could easily jam the single radio frequency used to guide them, sending them off course. Remembering those dinner conversations from her first marriage, Hedy had a revolutionary idea. What if the radio signal could jump rapidly from one frequency to another in a random, synchronized pattern? The enemy wouldn't be able to find and jam the signal because it would never stay in one place long enough. It was a brilliant concept, but she needed help with the mechanics. She found an unlikely partner in George Antheil, an avant-garde composer and pianist she met at a dinner party. Antheil was known for his wild compositions, including one that synchronized 16-player pianos. When Hedy explained her idea, Antheil realized that the mechanism used to synchronize. His player pianos, a perforated paper roll, could be adapted to make her frequency-hopping system work. Together, they worked tirelessly, drafting the plans for their secret communication system. They were granted a patent for their invention in 1942. They eagerly offered their groundbreaking technology to the U.S. Navy, hoping it would give the Allies a critical advantage in the war. But the Navy dismissed it. They couldn't seem to see past Hedy's movie star persona. The idea of a Hollywood actress and an eccentric musician creating a sophisticated military technology was, to them, laughable. They told her she'd be more useful selling war bonds, using her celebrity status to raise money. And she did, raising millions for the war effort, all while knowing her most valuable contribution was sitting on a shelf, collecting dust. The patent expired years later, with Hedy and George never earning a cent from it. The military did eventually revisit the concept, implementing a version of it on naval ships during the 1962 Cuban Missile Crisis, but by then, its inventors were long forgotten. Decades passed. Hedy's film career faded, and she retreated from the public eye, becoming a recluse. Her later years were troubled by a few minor legal issues and financial struggles. The world had seemingly forgotten about Hedy Lamarr, the movie star, and it had never even known about Hedy Lamarr, the inventor. But then, in the 1990s, something amazing happened. The principles of her frequency-hopping invention became the foundation for modern spread-spectrum technology. This is the technology that underpins so many of our wireless conveniences today. Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, GPS, and countless other secure military and civilian communication systems. Every time your phone connects to a Wi-Fi network or your wireless headphones sync to your device, you are using a direct descendant of Hedy Lamarr's idea. Finally, the world started to recognize her genius. In 1997, the Electronic Frontier Foundation gave Hedy and George a long overdue award for their contribution. When she was told about the award over the phone, the elderly Hedy's classic response was, "Well, it's about time." Hedy Lamarr passed away in the year 2000, but her dual legacy is more powerful than ever. She was a silver screen icon who defined glamour for a generation. But more importantly, she was a brilliant, self-taught inventor whose mind conceived a technology that would change the world. Her story is a powerful reminder that we should never judge a book by its cover, and that passion and intellect can be found in the most unexpected places. She was a true visionary, a woman who was both brains and beauty, forever etched in the annals of both Hollywood and technological history. Thanks for watching. If you found this story as inspiring as we did, please hit that like button. Subscribe for more incredible stories.